All right, Conrad, we are halfway done with our Christmas shopping. Only 87 more gifts to go.
I'm so tired of this Christmas grind, Jono. I wish we could just ditch our families and head to a place where there's swimming and friendships and bouncy bouncies and delicious sugary crab juice.
I think you mean bug juice. Are you talking about a summer camp?
You're right. We'll start our own summer camp, but in the winter. A summer in December, if you will.
Oh, I see. Like the opposite of a Christmas in July.
It's like the opposite of a Christmas in July.
Well, that sounds super fun and all, but I mean, where are we gonna
get the bug juice? I know. We'll have to raid all the Roach motels in town.
Wait, no.
This is gonna be the best Christmas summer ever!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Film Fights. I am your fearless host, Jono Rodriguez. And with me, of course, is my palm tree, calm, vree, DD, Ramoni, Karen Carpentery from the Bandy, from the band Saw E, Saw 4, Saw 3, Chris Tucker, Chris Rock, spiraling out of control. Yo, don't make me get to the yo roll. I'm gonna go to yo, to the bro, Conrad Hartman. Hello, Conrad. How's it going?
Whew. I hope there's a fire extinguisher nearby because you were spitting some bars that were hot.
I felt tepid, but thank you.
Yeah, well, I have a skin condition that makes it feel hotter than it is.
Yeah, you are flaking a bit. Can I get you a towel?
I'm allergic to towels.
Oh, now I know why you're flaking. I've got towels everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we should not have built this city on towels.
No, this apartment's lousy with towels. This apartment studio.
It's also towely with louses.
That's how we keep the sound out.
That's right. Wait, we should be trying to keep the sound in. That's why we have so much trouble recording.
Oh my God. It all makes sense. It's like that moment in The Sixth Sense when he looked at the door handle and was like, oh my God, if only I'd used a towel, I'd be alive today.
All these great jokes that we've said just keep flying out the windows because we're not keeping the sound in.
Here, let me raise up the window here. Hey, you little kid there who looks like an orphan.
Yes, sir?
You seen any towels or jokes around here?
Why, it's Christmas Day.
Oh, yes. Well, then go to the store and leave me alone.
The one as big as is me?
No. I think we're having two different conversations.
Well, that's great. Now just toss down a gold piece and I'll go buy it for you in it.
Oh, I'll toss a piece, all right.
Great. Thanks, Mr. Scrooge.
I tossed him a middle finger.
I tossed him a gold piece, but it was actually one of those chocolates that's wrapped up to look like a gold coin. So they're going to arrest him at the store. One less urchin on the street.
Conrad, what's going on with this podcast?
So we like to take two movies, pit them against one another in a brutal grudge match, and pick one to come out on top to reign supreme. This week, we're doing something a little different. Those of you who've been listening to the pod for the last couple of years, first of all, thank you. Second of all, normally around this time, we like to do a bunch of Christmas movies. And of course, as you've been following the show, we have done a couple of Christmas movies. However, we honestly are just kind of tired of seeing ho-ho-hos everywhere and these, bug-filled pine trees that people drag into their houses and Black Friday stampedes and, there computer games that are expensive and fancy boots for your dog and all this stuff. So today, we are going to be pretending like it's a balmy 80 degrees outside, because it is. And we're going to be talking about two of our favorite summer camp movies.
That's right. It's Christmas it's summer and December.
That's right. July and Christmas.
Uh-huh. And we have chosen these very popular, very well-touted American movies.
Very current.
Yes, very current, very in. And those critically acclaimed, that's a word I made up. You like it? Movies. It's a very neutral, friendly word. Heavyweights and camp somewhere. I'm just kidding. It's camp nowhere. What?
Yep, they're very glamorous. We're going to start with a fat camp, and then we're going to start with a nothing camp. So I hope that these Camp B features fill your body with the warmth of summer and the taste of sweet bologna sandwiches that have been sitting out at high summer temperatures for an hour, made with hatred by a camp cafeteria person. Those are real, right?
Yeah. Wait, a camp cafeteria person?
And that you're washing them down with a nice big glass of warm Lake Tapawaki milk water.
Well, I mean, that's my favorite thing about camp is that delicious lake water. It comes right...
milky lake water.
That milky lake water. Mm-hmm. Lake milk.
Yeah. Lake Milkawawa.
Well, you know why it's called that? Is because this camp happens to be like at the breast, if you will, of Earth. And we all know Earth is a living, breathing woman.
That's right. Here at Camp Nipple, we like to remind you that the Earth is our mother, and we reside right upon her bountiful teats.
Everyone, get your cereal bowls. It's about to erupt.
Oh my god! So, nestle in for some briny dairy goodness. Why is the lake saltwater? I don't.
Wait, are you pickling the milk? Mickling. Milkling.
Oh gosh, I've got milk on the brain. I need to go to heavyweights camp.
Because of milk being on your brain? I think it's more frying your brain if you got milk on it.
Oh yeah, frying your brain, lots of saturated fat.
Mm-hmm. Just like drugs in a pan.
Drugs in a pan have a lot of saturated fat?
Well, they have a lot of drugs in them.
That's why you always steam your heroin.
More healthy.
Much healthier for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're always frying it up in the spoons instead of steaming it. Yeah. Come on. It's amateur hour, man.
You gotta bake to get baked. Everyone knows that.
Listen, we're adults, all right? You gotta watch those triglycerides.
Mm-hmm. They'll get you.
So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Heavyweights is the tale as old as time about a chubby kid who's actually not they call it fat camp. I want to address this off the top. Jono and I will not be fat shaming anyone, and we're not making fun of these kids' weight at all.
No.
But the premise of this movie is that they are all going to fat camp, and in the movie, they sneak in a bunch of snacks, and there's a scene where they're shoving their face full of candy and stuff. So we will make fun of that, but it's not like making fun of their weight. This is one of the weird things I think right off the bat about fat camp is like these kids are still growing and developing. Like they probably won't be fat in a couple years. Some of them maybe, but
well, I mean, well, just to be clear, there's no such thing as fat camp. Like that's not how they label it. They label it as body enhancement camp or
no. That's where they train to be plastic surgeons, amateur plastic surgeons.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. What am I thinking of then? Like I'm thinking of pounds away.
No, they disguise it as like pound cake fantasy or Twinkie Haven, and then you get there and they're like, buckle up, Buttercup. It's time to get on the treadmill.
Well, no, that makes sense because the Twinkie fantasy means they're going to turn you into a Twinkie, and then in pound cake fantasy, they're taking the pounds from you and making a cake out of it.
Why do these both those names sound like it's a porn camp?
Well, I mean, that's why they had to shut it down because, websites started springing up and they thought it was associated. And they're like, oh, we didn't know about the .com craze. We forgot to buy the domain.
Right.
Which is very appropriate in the time because this came out in something 90.
Jono, did you ever go to summer camp?
No, that's awful.
I went once.
Ew.
For 1 week.
Which kind? There was like so many.
The worst kind.
The computer kind.
Church kind.
Ah!
Yeah, so not only were there no snacks, there was also church. So it was...
Think about, when you go to church on Sunday, it's every day, all day.
Right. And now think of that, but at a fat camp. That's what it was like.
Oh, man.
Also, they told me I was terrible. Anyway, that's, church camp. So, heavyweights.
Yeah, heavyweights. We have a colorful group of kids, all very different styles of funny, or they think they are.
Good, a rare instance of a lot of good child acting.
Oh, yeah. Like this was a special time when, even in bad movies like Mr. Nanny to a degree, or Skateboard Kid, Little Giants.
Is Skateboard Kid a real movie?
Yeah, they made 2 of them. So
they made 2 of them?
Yeah, and like child acting somehow was just like not 100% great in the 90s, but I feel like the track record was better than it has been before or since.
Sure.
But yeah, every kid in this was like had a nice charm to them, even if it was their only movie.
I gotta say, say what you will about Disney, but both of these movies are actually Disney movies. I don't know if you realized that.
I did.
I didn't know that going into our second film. We'll talk about that. But
well, Heavyweights has the Disney branding. Camp Nowhere
yes.
is a Hollywood Pictures movie,
right. So
which is
owned
a
by
brand. Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
They get to release through Hollywood Pictures as well as
Buena
Vista, and then Trimark. I think
Donkey Dick Pictures. I think
Donkey
is also
Dick, yeah,
owned by Disney,
and also Tit Come Island.
Yeah,
they only released 1 movie.
Doesn't
which was
Disney
Tit Come
also
Island.
own Holocaust Deniers Pictures? .biz?
Well, don't ask them that; they'll deny it.
Exactly. You just see the frozen head of Walt Disney like shaking back and forth, denying.
But those were the labels they could push out, like more risque films. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying Camp Nowhere is a risky film, but it we'll get to it.
It was
we'll
more
get
adult
to
than So I do think that is a factor in Heavyweights with the good child acting, because say what you will about Disney, but they do generally have good child acting. I don't know what they're doing. Like they're like punching them in the back in places where it doesn't show on their body and being like, you better give me a fucking good performance.
Well, no, they just
or if they're truly good cultivating youth talent.
Yeah, they just knew how to find charisma back then. Like you
That's
know.
a good point. Please don't sue us, Disney. It's just jokes.
Well, I mean, they'll get to us eventually. They're suing everybody.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think back then, and I will not go onto a tirade about this, but movies back then, especially for kids and stuff, had less of a political agenda than it does now. And by which I don't mean literally like, politics. I mean like, we have to make sure the right amount of types of people, their language, are in the film. We have to make sure the language is right. We have to make sure that it gets watched by like these executives who are like 90 years old and just with their fucking 50-sheet checkmark page. Like back then it was just like, oh, this kid is funny. Let's put him in the movie and then maybe fat shame him a little bit because he's okay with it. They don't know that for a fact, but it was back then. Who cares?
Well, and actually, I think you hit on two really solid points there. One, which is that if you look at this cast, it is naturally diverse. Like you naturally, because you've got Kenan Thompson, you've got that kid that was also in Mighty Ducks, you got the main kid, you got that British tool, you got that little redhead dummy or whatever.
The redhead. The race of redheads.
Yeah, I just named like 3 different white actors and 2 actors of color, but in the other thing that you said was great too. So
good to have that.
These kids are very funny. So this movie starts with school letting out, and it starts off with one of the most common tropes of a summertime movie, which is the last day of school. The kids burst out of the classrooms, and they're like throwing papers everywhere and ripping up their textbooks and, peeing on their janitor and like, kicking their teacher in the crotch. And like, that's not, I don't know about you, but like when school let out for summer when I was a kid, it was like, okay, I'm going to go home now.
Well, I mean, not unless you were bridging the gap, because if it was like your last day in school before going to the next school, then you did that.
Well, then I was like punching a cop. Yeah.
Overturning a car.
Yeah, that's right. I break out the Coke at my desk and just start mainlining it.
It's like the end of a World Cup.
The teacher's like, well, kids will be kids. Oh, God. Please don't kill me. They're tied up and being taped for a hostage.
Hits her over the head with a bottle. And not just like a bottle of Coca-Cola. No, a bottle of Jim Beam or something.
That's right.
They didn't know better, okay? They couldn't drink good whiskey.
I was just about to say that.
Should have let you have that one. But I took it. Because I'm fucking LeBron James over here and you're Michael Jordan.
That's right. Oh, wait, no, that's Kobe. Anyway, so then, he comes home to discover his kids. I'm back from school, Joni and Jebby.
Because I'm Billy Madison and I decided to go back to school.
Did you do your fucking chores? I shouldn't have had you when I was 6.
God. And then, they have the montage at the beginning, which, okay, I love a movie that just goes.
Totally.
Right? No fucking bullshit ass like, it takes 10 minutes for the credits to go by, and then we have to set up the story. No, the story should be set in motion with the action.
Sure.
And you let us know everything about the character there, right then and there. And so, like, you see him, he gets made fun of because he can't throw a baseball over a fence.
That's hilarious. And I also, still to this day, terrible at throwing a baseball. Not as bad as he is. He can't even, like, toss it and, like, lob it over the very short fence. It's like
he's throwing it straight ahead. That's the problem. I mean, he could, granny toss it over there, but no.
Right, if I were the coach that was witnessing this, I'd be like, son, forget about your athletic ability. What's your IQ like? I think maybe you're at the wrong school.
Yeah, so it should have been called, weighted smarts, maybe.
Heavy brains.
No, that would imply
they're heavy with water.
Oh, because when someone says you're dense,
Right. See?
What are you, dense? Your brain made of lead?
Hydro something. It is a real
Hydroplaning?
thing. Like you do in your car when it rains?
Yeah. It happens in your brain whenever you're, doing...
Hydrobraining. It's the same thing. Your brain's slipping back and forth because of all the water. It can't keep thoughts in it.
It's like sloshing around. It's like, how do you know if you have that problem? Well, whenever you shake your head no, do you hear kind of a rustling? Does it sound like a bartender shaking a drink?
Does it sound like you're throwing a pork shoulder between your hands really fast?
Does it sound like you're giving a little toddler a bath in a sink?
Actually, it sounds more like I'm skipping stones. Oh my God, it's worse than we thought.
Yeah. Wait, so the sound is getting further and further away? Tell me more about this, Nathaniel.
What were we talking about?
Oh, yeah, so the credits of the movie. So he gets home, and he's bombarded by his parents, and they're like, you want to go to fat camp, huh? Like nudging him like,
we've just been talking to this door-to-door camp salesman.
Who says camp is cool.
He is that guy.
That's the word kids are using, right?
He is a famous actor, and he's been in some Coen Brothers stuff, and he's very good.
It was not William H. Macy.
That's correct. It was not. Nor was it George Clooney.
Well, I don't think of George Clooney when I think of a famous actor.
Yeah, I think of him when I think of shitty tequila.
Yeah, not the Silver Fox, baby. I think of William H. Macy, baby.
So then,
the cooler.
Speaking of the cooler, this kid's on the fast track to heavy camp. I'll heavy shame him, not fat shame him.
You set it up yourself. He's on the fast track to fat camp.
That's right. He's on the fat track.
The Nordic track.
That's right. All these kids are headed to the Nordic track.
It's in the Nordic Pole.
90s. And then his parents put him on a plane by himself. How far away is this camp? He's got to fly there.
Oh, was he on a plane?
That's where he meets Keenan.
Oh, that's right. He pops his little head in. And he's like, "Hey, you going to fat camp?"
I gotta say, love him or hate him, I am I love seeing someone like Keenan who, because it's so rare, who goes from being a child comedic actor all the way to now he's the longest running member on SNL, and he's been in a bunch of things and a bunch of shows, and it's cool to see someone be a child actor and become successful and not get destroyed, and chewed up and eaten by the monster.
It's a rare case, and he was a natural, and
really was, yeah.
And it was a shame the same luck couldn't happen for Drake and Josh. They they were funny. Okay?
That was after my time,
and we're only a couple years apart. But I guess that could be the difference, right? When you're on the crux.
That's true. I mean, you are older than me, but
you make it seem oh yeah, Jono, you were from the iCarly phase.
That was after my little brother was watching.
Yeah, exactly.
No, he was watching The Sweet Life with Zach and Cody.
So then you were watching Victorious. I like that we're gauging our ages strictly on Disney.
Yeah, by then
shows.
I was watching Halloween and Friday the Jason and
Halloween Town. That was a good set of movies from Disney or Nickelodeon. I don't remember.
So Keenan's "Hey, going to fat camp, huh?" And he's like, "What? No." And he's like, I look at how uncomfortable you are in these tiny airline seats.
He's like, "Nah, you're fat, and you're sitting next to somebody who's fat," or something like that.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a sweet bluntness to it when he's like, "Nah, man, because I think he literally says because you're fat."
Yeah,
and he goes, "Yeah," and he goes, "I'm not fat," and he goes, "Yes, you are. I'm fat too. I'm going to fat camp."
Yeah, it's said because it's said so plainly and straight. It is a joke, but it's not a hokey because you're fat. And he does the jazz hands.
It's a sweet kind of moment of connection between them and of self-realization for him to be you're saying I don't have to be ashamed and deny that I'm fat. I can just be oh, okay, yeah, I'm kind of fat. And he's like, cool. My name's Keenan Thompson or whatever. I'm Mr. Camp Friend. Nice to meet
half
you.
of Keenan and Kel.
I'm the burger in Good Burger.
No, that's as far as thematically, I did enjoy that in the movie. That they're actually, unless it was from a villain in the movie,
right? There
was no fat shaming, and it was more, and they had this approach that was they never really said oh, I don't care that I'm unhealthy. They weren't playing that angle, but it was more just I'm proud of who I am.
Totally.
This is how it is. I'm a child. I know I'm going to shed these pounds when I get older, but right now, give me the SpaghettiOs, baby.
Well, and I think actually they kind of, this is probably going a little deeper than this movie really was, but the Camp Hope seemed to take more of a natural, holistic approach before the evil monster took it over. They were just you know what? These kids are going to come here. We're going to plan their meals. We're going to engage them in physical activities that are fun. And, if they lose a little weight by being more active and eating what we give them, then awesome. Otherwise, if they don't, cool. They're going to have a great time, and that's the most important thing. And we're wow.
Right, yeah.
That's really, I'm not an exercise expert, but that's kind of how it should work.
Oh, absolutely.
Even as adults.
But and here I go again. It's Mr. Jono and his logic. But I will, and again, like, you know, I've discussed this before. Logic will always be pervasive. But if I'm enjoying the movie, I can kind of like say, "Hey, get out of here, get out of here, logic. I'm enjoying this." But the logic here was that all of these kids, except for Main Fat, was they were repeat customers for this camp, right?
Yep.
And the idea is that they keep getting sent there because it's working from a parent's perspective. Otherwise, why would they keep sending them there?
Or they love it so much,
right? But like, and that's the thing. They should have
really love
they
it.
should have established that, because they do say in the commercial that Pat is in. Which, by the way, when he said, "I've been coming here for 10 years."
18 years.
Well, he's been working. Oh, yeah, he's been working there for 10 years. He's been coming there for 18 years. Like, when he said that, I almost thought that was an unintentional joke, because it felt like a bad commercial.
Right, because he's a substantial man.
Yeah, you know, he's not. He's
a man of a certain carriage.
He's got a girth to him, and so like, and he's front and center. And it's like, yeah, that's not going to sell me on putting my kid there.
Let's talk about Pat.
The I know this is a Disney film.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to take that into account, because if it's a Disney live action film, you know, the adults will be kind of one of two things. If they're a good guy, they will be kind of dumbed down a little bit so that they can be friends with kids easily.
They'll be childified.
There you go. They will be childified.
In this case especially.
He's frying up those kids. And, well, mostly their fingers. He wants those little child fingers.
Oh, child fingers with the hunky dunky sauce.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. Mr. Hellraiser will ring you up. But yeah, they'll childify them. and then the bad guys will be like levels of Ursula villainified, where they are just super wacky, and it's fine. It's fine. You know, I understand that. But the problem here is that if Pat, and I'm just going to skip right to it, if Pat didn't have a love interest, it wouldn't have been so kind of weird. Because there was, I got Stranger Danger vibes a couple times.
Yeah, we thought his love interest was Keenan first. No.
Yeah, because he's got his arm around him and he's like, "Hey, you ready to go skinny dipping?"
Yeah, that's what he said.
Again.
And he kind of cups. Anyway. No.
He gets Mickey Moused himself because he puts his tits on his head.
Let's just say this. If you're a previous listener, I wouldn't count on Pat to save me by swimming out to the middle of the lake and helping me out. You know what I mean?
I mean, he might help me into a rack of ribs.
That's right. And that's actually not a fat joke. That's from Friday the 13th. So go back and listen to it if you want to understand what I mean.
Go back and listen to the movie Friday the 13th.
Go back to listen to the episode we did about Friday the 13th.
That's right. Get ready to get homework. Listen to the lovely spectators.
Hey, listen. We're not sending you to heavy camp. We're sending you to film camp. And when you go to film camp, you're going to learn non-facts.
You're going to watch bad movies.
You're going to watch bad. So many.
Throw out the Criterion collection and throw in the Shaterian selection.
That is the thing about Disney movies in villains versus good guy grown-up peoples, is that Mr. Bad Person grown-up is like, I'm very adult, no fun is great. And then good guy grown-up is like, I just want to have fun and play badminton or whatever they're doing. And like,
it has bad in the word. You can't...
I want to drive fun carts and
not go karts.
And I want to swim and I want to jump on the go blob. And you know, that's the difference. And so I think that we're creeped out by adults that want fun because being an adult is so fucking boring all the time. And we see these grown-ups like Pat who are like, are you ready for the best damn summer of your life? And I'd be like, God, your enthusiasm is exhausting.
Well, I couldn't relate either because I was never surrounded by those types of adults. I was surrounded by the villain adults who were just wacky.
Yeah, because that's what most adults are like. Most of them aren't Pat, and that's why we think it's weird. Because actually, like, he was fucking awesome, like, with the kids in this movie.
Oh, yeah. I'm not trying to... Yeah, I want to be clear that I'm not trying to, like, derail that, you know, he was, you know, negligent or anything like that. I do believe the chemistry with him and the kids was
absolutely.
very genuine, and it was like, oh yeah, he's really cool.
Hey, it's just jokes.
But you know, when he's like, you know, coming to my basement area, I'm looking for some candy.
Jono had a very different experience watching this.
Oh, you didn't watch the director's cut?
So here they are. They're having a great first day, and you know, main kid is meeting all the secondary friends, and they are also ample and not just size but friendship.
Yes, that's what we meant.
And you know, there's the one kid that talks like he's a mob boss all the time.
Oh my God, I loved him so much.
So good. He's in Mighty Ducks also.
Yeah, his and you could see that kind of naturally happening because, you know, maybe the director was like, hey, you know, you're like, they all look up to you. You probably, of the kids, have been coming here the longest, and you're like the leader. And he's like, yeah, I am the leader. And he's like, totally owns it, and it's awesome.
And he's like, you know, you're going to shave even though you're like 11 years old and your face looks like the same as your bottom.
Well, because he's got to like send that message to the other kids like, hey, seriously, you see this? I'm shaving. That equals mind your place. Don't worry. I'm going to give you Snickers.
That's why I like to shave in front of my dog to remind him who's boss.
Yeah.
You see this, Eddie? That's right.
Classic alpha move.
Just remember, you're covered in hair. I never shave you. And you certainly never shave yourself. You don't even have opposable thumbs, you fucking little canine prick.
He's got to sit there and take it.
He's got to. Hey, you know what? He may not understand exactly what I'm saying, but pretty sure he gets it.
However, if, you know, he starts like rubbing too hard on a tree or starts biting his hair out. So I'm just saying, if you ever see a bald spot on him, you better watch out.
Hey, is the lion the king of the jungle or not? Yes. Does the lion clearly have a maintained haircut?
A maintained.
Thank you.
Well, his taint might have a mane, a little mini mane.
He gives himself a Brazilian, a little landing strip. Leads to his weird cat penis.
Well, you know, you gotta spoil yourself sometimes.
Well, listen, you know that ring of hair, baby, that doesn't happen naturally. That he's gathering the rest of the animals and looking in the mirror and shaving while he's like, so what's new in the jungle? So the kids.
Yes, back to the kids.
Their assembly, their first day at camp. Mm-hmm. They're about to meet their benevolent camp owners. This is the most we've like actually gone through sequentially a movie in a while.
Yeah, we got to wrap up soon.
Well, anyway, Jerry Stiller owns the camp, and then he's like, oh no, I had to sell it to Ben Stiller, my son, who's not my son in the movie. No. And Ben Stiller's like crazy exercise guy Tony Perkis, and he's going to Perkisize everybody.
That's right. And his overacting is wonderful as usual.
Yep.
Very funny. Very
God in that body.
Yeah. He made sure to let everyone know, hey, comedians can look ripped
as long as their face is disgusting.
Yeah. I'm sure someone likes that.
Yeah, he was married to Marsha Brady, and then they broke up.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh.
So here's the deal. I need to address this. If I address nothing else about this movie, this needs to be addressed. Everyone follow me for just a second down movie lane. Tony Perkis, played by Ben Stiller, is a fitness I'm sure I'm not the first person to say this. He's a fitness obsessed person. And he's very crazy about fitness, and he says he used to be super fat. He used to be over his words, ish. And he was like, I was over 300 pounds, and I was gross. And,
when he was 12.
Yeah, and my mom hated me, and so she died. And here I am now, the beautiful man you see before you. And then at the end of the movie, they turn him into a supervillain by locking him in an electrified fence and stuff, and trapping him because the kids hate him because they can't eat their little sweet snacks. And that makes them really mad because sugar's an addiction. And then he gets carted off because his dad is the real money behind the operation. He gets carted off. Now, if you go back and watch the absolute banger classic Dodgeball.
Debatable.
Ben Stiller plays another character by a different name, whose name escapes me right now, who runs and owns Globo Gym. And he is fitness obsessed. He overacts. He's got a big, smiley personality. He's obsessed with food in, behind closed doors because he used to be super fat. And he becomes super fat again at the end of the movie. And he's become very successful. But where'd that seed money come from? It came from his dad because he's the same character as Heavyweights. He changed his name because the Perkis system caused him to be disgraced because he was mean to kids and making them exercise and lose weight, which is very mean and stuff, I guess. And I'm just saying, I think he's the same character, but with a new name to distance himself from his camp past.
That definitely sounds plausible, but we also have to remember that Ben Stiller is a bad actor, and it's possible he's just doing the same shtick.
And actually, the way the characters act is different, but I think that makes sense because the movies are 20 years apart, or 10 years apart, 10, 15 years apart.
Because, you could argue that David Spade's character from Tommy Boy is the same in Black Sheep.
No.
And he changed
totally
his
different
name.
situation.
Because he's just a sarcastic
And then Chris Farley
friend.
is also the same character, but he's got amnesia or something.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because he's like, oh, yeah, I have a brother who's a governor. Oh, it was all a plot from the bad senator. She, found him in a hovel and was, convinced this guy, Tim Matheson, hey, this is your shitty brother.
Yeah, so he's really mean. He makes the kids exercise, and they do not like it. They're at fat camp.
Yeah.
And he and his buddy Lars.
Oh, yes, that's right. Lars. I wouldn't say it was his buddy. It was his minion.
Well, if you have minions, you consider them to be friends. They don't consider you to be a friend because you're probably it's lonely at the top.
Oh, well, in his case, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved Lars. He's a character actor. I've seen him in at least one other movie, but he's great. Now, I love a solid, especially in a movie of this caliber, I love a solid bad guy coming to the good guy side. One of my favorites examples is Nerds, Revenge of the Nerds, when what's his name? Brutus.
Keep going, you got it.
Grunch.
Burtis Grunch.
When Burtis Grunch is nerds, and he's a great character actor too. But seeing him at the end with the fucking taped glasses and he's drinking from the punch bowl.
And he's like, Amadeus.
Yeah, he's great. I love it. And that's what Lars did, because he was like, oh, no meatloaf for you, little child. That was a great German accent.
Oh, my God.
And then he comes to the children's side and says, oh, no more exercising for you, little boy.
Only meatloaf.
Meatloaf for all.
And then he starts playing I'd Do Anything for Love. And then he's like, that is just my little joking with you.
And then everyone's like, what are you talking? The song hasn't come out yet. It actually did, actually.
Yeah, he starts playing Fight Club. Guest starring.
Yeah, guest starring Meatloaf. You got the credits, it's Edward Furlong. I'm sorry.
It's an all-food movie. You got Toad in a burrito, or Bullfrog in a burrito, next to just not Meatloaf, the singer, the late singer, an actual meatloaf.
An actual slab of meatloaf, yeah. That's a good lineup.
Lars also has a very funny moment towards the beginning where he's like, he's sleeping in the chipmunk cabin, and he says, I have a deviated septum. So when I am sleeping, I make a horrible noise. Do not be alarmed. I am fine. Yeah. And his delivery is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Like,
I love that the gag that it's turned around where it's just like, don't worry, I'm fine. like not even like, just mind the noise. He doesn't even give a shit.
Yeah, not like, hey, I'm sorry. You know, I'm not trying to keep you up. I can't help it. It's, don't worry about me.
Yeah, don't wake me up.
Yeah, if you wake me up, I swear to God, you will do even more exercising and have even less meatloaf tomorrow.
And you will wear less clothes while you exercise. And I will videotape it.
Lars is also kind of like hinting towards him being a good guy, even though the dance was designed to humiliate them, even though it was just literally a dance with girls, and all it took was someone starting the dance. It just took Paul Feig.
Paul Feig, he's
dancing.
in this movie. That's
right.
He should have stayed an actor.
He was very funny.
No, he was. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, he wanted to work more behind the camera, and it's like, nah, you're all right in front of it, and I wouldn't even put you in a starring role. But
right, you are. Just stay in your lane. You're a great supporting actor. Stay in the right lane.
Yeah,
you're like about to exit, but not quite.
Exactly. You're a great Curtis Armstrong. You know what I mean?
I don't know who that is. And you're like, exactly. He played the character who was a student of the heavyweight arts and graduated to svelteness. And yeah, and he started the whole dance with everybody. And while everyone's dancing together and no one's being humiliated, Lars is up there at the DJ booth doing his weird, like, German fucking technotronic
Yeah, he's
dance.
playing Kraftwerk and
yeah, and like old Nazi speeches.
But it's like to a beat.
He's playing Rammstein.
It's to the marching beat of,
This song is called Goose Step Jamboree. So Tony Perkis gets what's coming to him. They catch him in a Tony trap after he makes him do a 20-mile hike. Now, I will say, that is like an insane hike.
Yeah. So like every movie that's ever happened, well, actually, maybe not every movie. Most movies have an ending.
As long as they weren't written by Stephen King, they usually have an ending.
Yeah, or Christopher Nolan. So this one had a Apache relay race.
First of all, offensive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's only offensive if they were in Apache gear, which we know would not be authentic because there's no way they would
They definitely weren't wearing offensively stereotypical outfits with leather fringe and one single feather on their headband.
Well, it wouldn't have been time appropriate anyway, period perfect. It wouldn't have been part of the periods.
Yeah, they should have dressed like casino owners if they wanted to dress like Apaches.
So like most movies, this one had an ending. The Apache relay race, my friend.
Right. An annual tradition.
An annual tradition in which they lose every time. They've lost the last 39 years.
Because they're putting fat camp against sports camp. That's like having a math competition with accountant camp versus fat camp.
Or like a drug Olympics with straight edgers.
Pat's like, next year, pie eating contest. We got your ass on this one.
See, they should have done that. They should have mixed it up. But they win the relay race, which is impossible. But it also feels very tacked on from a screenplay
totally unnecessary.
Point of view, because like it felt like everything was culminating in Anthony Perkis getting booted, right?
I guess his full name would be Anthony. I didn't think about that.
Doesn't matter. Like that's the end of the movie, and then it's like, and then they pull the Dark Knight on you and go, nope, there's still another half hour. and yeah, it's like, oh, we have this race, and like even then, you kind of feel like, oh, who cares? I think they mentioned this once in the movie, and the stakes. They didn't build on the stakes of them winning the race. They built on the stakes of getting rid of.
Pat's like, wait, did you say we're building stakes?
We're building stakes. Remember when they were when they were running after the cows? Why were there cows at camp?
Dude, that like made me like borderline angry because it was so unnecessary. But yeah, they like the kids sneak off camp to chase a cow because they're so hungry they're gonna like turn it into burgers or something. That's like Wimpy running around with a meat grinder. Like, oh my God, what are you going to do when you catch it? They're just going to club this cow.
He's just going to grip
its flesh off its body.
No, they're running after the forks and knives. They're going to eat it like as is.
Hey, man, say what you will about the Perkis system, but if those kids are so in dire need of calories that they are chasing live cows.
Hey, you know what? You don't know what it's like. You've never gone cold turkey on candy before.
That's true. They're trying to go cold cow right now.
We're going to try to eat it cold. So they win the race, and it was like, well, yeah, of course. Who cares? It was like the last 5 minutes of the movie, and then Pat kisses the nurse, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, like they kind of had like a little flirtation, but he like grabs her and maws her down. I would have liked it if he's kissing her and she pushes him away and goes, ew, what the fuck? We're coworkers. That's super inappropriate, bro.
Calling HR.
Well, HR just got fired from the camp, baby. Tony Perkis' system is going in the to his dad's house because his dad saved him. I think my favorite thing is that what did they do different to win the Apache relay this year than other years, John?
I don't remember.
Nothing. Nothing.
No, they had to do something. Like they were like, oh, I'm really good at eating, so I'm going to use my jaw to bike. I'm really good at running my mouth, so I'm going to use my teeth to run.
Like, one of the kids all of a sudden was great at, like, art history, which was part of the relay, and, like, that's how they got ahead. And then Keenan was like, I'm good at throwing a football. Oh, yeah, and then Mob Mouth Bossy Kid was, like, good at shaving the balloon because that was part of the relay. But he said he had been shaving since he was 11, so, like, this is the first time he was good enough to...
well, when he says he was shaving since he was 11, he means like nonstop. Like every moment he wasn't on screen, he was shaving.
I came here to do two things: eat junk food and shave, and I'm all out of junk food.
Come here, Nathaniel.
Come here. I'm going to shave this cow. It should be noted, too, that the cover of this on Disney Plus has them holding up the Apache Relay trophy that they'd never won before. So,
yeah, so spoilers.
They're like, look, you don't have to watch the last 20 minutes. They win, okay?
They win. I mean, you know, it's treated that way in the movie because it's like, oh, yeah, and they win because it's on the poster. We forgot it was on the poster. We have to be like, oh, they won a race. There you go.
Do you think Paul Feig is looking back on this and being like, you know, I should make a female reboot of this? Well, Jono, now it's time to go back to a time that's right before the time we were talking about with Camp Nowhere. But it's somewhere in our hearts and minds. 1 year before Heavyweights came out, this great movie about Christopher Lloyd letting kids leave their parents and run amok came out.
What?
We're talking about Camp Nowhere.
Oh, right, Camp Nowhere. Yes, Camp Nowhere with Doc and Little Boy.
It's your camp, Marty. Yeah, so Ned Flanders' son. Ned Flanders keeps trying to talk his son into going to Camp Camp Computer Walk. He's like, listen, son, I know that I'm not with it. As soon as someone says something like that, you're like, yeah.
You're about to say something that's really not with it.
Now, son, I know I'm not with it, and I've never had sex.
But he had to have.
That's a cuckold situation for sure.
I've never had traditional sex.
I did have what your mommy calls birthing sex, which is where we go to the clinic.
I am put to sleep. And they extract it.
And I wake up and your mom has had sex.
And I say, boy, howdy, am I hungry?
And then we go out for a nice slice of pie. No ice cream on top. It's very fattening. Anyway. But I think that you have lots of... And the kid's like, yes, potential. I know, Dad. You keep boosting me up with positivity, trying to make me a productive adult, and I hate it.
Yeah, kids really didn't know how good they had it back then.
And they really didn't. His dad was like... Yeah, I want you to go to computer camp so that you can be successful. And the kid's like, oh, my dad sucks. I hate going to computer camp.
I hate being spent money on.
Yeah. Anyway, son, why don't we take a look around the mall and see what you want? Oh, you get off my back.
I'll get you any toy in the mall. Oh, just one?
You know you're not my real dad, right? You literally just told me you never had sex.
You just told me you're not my dad. Now, that is not what I told you. I'm just not your dad in the biblical sense. What does that even mean?
That means that he impregnated your mom with himself and then died to save you from himself. Yeah, so computer camp seems like it sucks, and he sees Doc Brown, the disgraced nuclear physicist, hawking fake easy cheese at the mall. It's low in cholesterol, and don't worry, it goes great with this whole raw fish.
Well, we know the
literally what happened, but I summed it up. But he says all those things.
Yeah, he does, and we all grew up with the cheese whiz craze of the 90s, but I don't remember there being like a whole fish flavored cheese whiz.
I also don't remember Easy Cheese having a brick and mortar shop inside of the mall. I didn't realize their profit margin was that high.
Well, yeah, they have the cans, but they also have like wheels of cheese, so it's like it's not processed. You're using
that's
real
the
cheese?
difficult cheese. The rest of it is the easy cheese. I'm sorry.
Did you hear how how that laugh came out of me? Like I was trying to start a mower, and it was like, no.
Yeah, it came out like you'd been eating too much easy cheese.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get that mower. Still trying to get it going. It's
all right. Well, kid's talking to his friends, and his other friends are like, okay, so the nerd girl love interest is like, my parents keep sending me to heavyweights. Camp.
Yeah, let's talk. Okay, so each friend, they each are being forced to go to a specific camp. We have Nerdlinger, who's going to computer camp. We have Drama Girl going to drama camp. We have Hot Stuff going to military camp.
Oh, you meant the boy when you said Hot Stuff.
Yeah, that pause might have seemed
because they're like 13. That's probably better. Well, I
no,
don't know.
he was billed as the hot stuff of the group, right?
Yeah,
and then you had Geek Girl, who was being sent to Fat Camp, which like
she was perfectly normal.
That made the
looking.
most. Yeah, that was the most bonkers choice because it's like, oh, all of these characters are fitting into an archetype, but
she's not heavy.
Is it because she's wearing baggy clothes that they're trying to fool you into thinking that, oh, she's a tub? You know? or is there some kind of like mind games level of abuse that those parents are putting her through?
Yeah, even worse.
Because the mom is no Holiday Ham herself, you know? Which means
Holiday Hams are fatty.
Not a lean one. 98%.
You mean a holiday clam. That's much lower in cholesterol. They're just like, big glob of protein.
She needed to clam up. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's right.
Which she didn't when she ate the poisoned brownie that Richard Simmons, Christopher Lloyd fed her.
Oh, that had raw liver paste in it?
Yeah.
To try and... Yeah, so Christopher Lloyd goes around to each of their parents, and he's like, now I'm a fitness instructor, and now I'll stop doing it. And then now I'm a military man, and now I'm
a drama man from Europe.
And now I'm computer guy. And to be fair, like, he should have been leading a drama camp, because that was really impressive.
Well, I mean, he was a drama teacher.
Yeah, I know.
So it made sense within his wheelhouse.
Yeah, I definitely didn't forget that until right now.
But let's talk about the I guess the inciting incident would be, oh, we're going to send you to these camps, and they're like, we don't wanna, and so they see weirdo, washed up, potentially dangerous man. They know nothing about him, but they go to his like
rando trailer
in the park, and boy knocks on the door, and he's like, hey, let me in, I'm a boy. And Christopher Lloyd is like, yeah, come into my trailer, little boy, because a man is coming over.
That's right.
Which was played by Emmett Walsh.
Now, throw sheets all over this lab equipment so that he doesn't know I'm making candy.
Meta-candy? That's right. It's
That's right. I have a methodical approach to candy making.
I guess you could say I'm making homemade meth. Vicks vapor meth. And so Emmett Walsh is like, hey, I'm a collections guy. I'm here for a car. And then he leaves. And then the kids blackmail him. Hey, run a camp for us. We'll give you $1,000. Those kids have... did they say they had $3,000, right?
I don't know, but all the kids gave them the money that their parents gave them to go to camp, so their parents were just like, how much is camp? All right, here's the cash. I totally trust you.
Here's the cash. And...
Oh, wait, he does tell them, no, he has it, because he asks all the parents, he says, it's cash.
That's right.
Yeah, so he has it.
Well, no, boy pulls out his wallet.
That's later.
And then he's got like, it's just filled to the brim with hundreds.
Yeah, that's later when all the kids are like, give me my camp money back. Like, what are you going to do with it here?
And do you remember where they were demanding this cash? They were demanding it when they found a car in the middle of the night. It was a rust bucket, as they call it. I mean, not as they call it, but as you would call it back then, a found car. It was clearly a total destroyed car, and throughout the movie, Hunk Boy Hot Stuff is like, I'm gonna fix this car, baby. And
oh yeah,
you see him, he's working on a carburetor in one scene. And then at the end of the movie, it's just a pristine, fresh from the factory, new, like, classic car.
50s, it looked like Chevy, or 1960s Chevy.
Chevy Bel Air or something. And it was baby blue. It's like, wait a minute.
He also painted it?
Yeah, where was the scene where he painted it, reupholstered it, and got new parts?
Well, it was during the montage where they were fixing up the camp for Parents' Day.
Yeah, he was selfish. He was fixing up the car. Ew, and when Burgess Meredith is talking about like how in the 60s a lot of sex and drugs and rock and roll, which is like, ooh, there's kids around here. But then Christopher Lloyd makes a comment that's like, oh yeah, this place does look familiar. And then she goes, ew, you had sloppy seconds of sex after Burgess Meredith right here? And he goes, well, not right here. And then he takes a step to the right, and then he looks at the kids, and he may as well be like, wink.
Yeah.
Right here, you idiots.
Yeah, he's like, no, I didn't get sloppy seconds. We spit roasted chicks. And we were snorting coke off of her back during, too.
But it was okay because it was the 60s. We were all about peace,
Yeah, right, getting a piece of this.
If you're all about peace, man, you could like totally have your way with.
Yeah, he made a bunch of references to like, yeah, I used to do a bunch of drugs and fuck a bunch. You know what I mean? Kids, you get the double entendre.
You know what I'm saying? He's like elbowing them until they get bruises. Like, ow. And speaking of...
the kids go to bed. He's still just moving his elbow.
I'm trying to sleep. Speaking of bodily injuries to children, Boy gets a burn. And he has to go to the nurse. And Christopher Lloyd, he takes him and then meets lady nurse. And this is their meet cute. And I will say
but she's not a nurse. They didn't hire a nurse for their secret camp.
No. It's off-site in her home. And they gloss the shit over that. It's just like,
hey,
oh,
you're a nurse.
Yeah,
right?
Here we are in someone's house because she's a nurse. And she has all the supplies that she's a, work from the home. She opened up her own shop, her own hospital.
Her own nursery.
And I'll say the meet cute of them was far superior than the one in heavyweights between Pat
and Gal.
Pat Sajak and Vanna White. Vanna Red because she was redhead. Oh my God, they were both redheads. So yeah, meet cute. Yep. And then they're like, "Oh, I'll see you next Tuesday." And then they,
you're going to be our nurse,
he
right?
Was calling her, he was calling her a cunt. I'll see you next Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Dang. Oh man, that's why it's Hollywood Pictures and not Disney.
Yeah.
He would have said
that's why. Yeah.
It should have been Monday if it were Disney, but Tuesday if it's anyway. They go back to the camp and they continue being horrible children, and it starts raining one day, and the kids are suddenly they've had it. Oh, not the rain! Fuck this idea. Fuck you, mud. Fuck having fun. I'm ready to go home and eat crow and be grounded for the remainder of the summer just because it's fucking raining.
They're like, fuck you, Mud, at the ground. They're like, oh, also you too, Mud, the kid, who goes by Mud in this movie for some reason.
Mud, the kid, he's
like
a wrestler.
All the kids at the beginning at his high school, because this is also first they're in school and then they break for summer movie.
Oh, yeah.
The
Clearly a remake of Heavyweights, but they used other camps
that came out the year before Heavyweights. Yeah, Boy, the bullies are like, hey, dog breath, hey, whatever, stinky pants or whatever. Or,
hey, Egg Sheldon.
Hey, pimple butt or whatever. And then,
hey, T-shirt breath.
So then. So when the kids are like, hey, Mud, I'm like, oh, that's just another insult. But then they keep calling him that. And I'm like, oh, his parents call him that too. That's his name. What is it short for?
Well, you know how MAD is short for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Well, this is Mothers Underneath Drunk Driving.
Like, we like fucking guys that drive drunk.
Yeah, it's a little, it's a playful little dig at mothers who don't like it. Against it. Well, because his first name is Mudworthington.
Yeah, Mudworthington Dirtless. That's right.
Sounds like the name of a worm.
Maybe we can discover a new worm and we'll name it that. Not a new kind of worm. We can just find like a worm and.
Well, we can segment that conversation.
Oh, God. Then it'll just become two new segments.
Exactly, 2 new conversations.
Sorry, Mudley is hanging out, and people are like, "I don't like this Mud, and I don't like you, Mud, either. We're going home because of one day of rain."
And then Dennis Brown comes out, and he's like, "Oh, you children just have to play in the rain," and then that solves everyone's.
Yeah. They're like, "Oh, we didn't think about that.
We didn't think about playing in the rain."
Yeah, we were just a bunch of bitches that were afraid of melting.
That spent thousands of dollars worth of Nerf guns and guitars and shit.
Uh-oh, Jono. Turns out all the parents want to come to see how their kids are doing at camp.
Oh, no.
We had not considered this extremely likely scenario.
Well, they're kids,
That's true. Kids are so stupid.
Well, you know who else was kind of stupid was Thomas Wilson That's right. It's a Back to the Future reunion because Biff Tannen, Biff Training.
Tannen. The wine connoisseur.
He's the cop of the town, and he's like,
because Biff barely graduated high school, so he becomes a cop.
That sounds about right. He goes, "Hey, Mudhead, what are you doing in this camp?" You know what? The chemistry between Mudworth and Docman and Mudman, the chemistry between them was really fun, and like them kind of improvising the relationship was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, their kind of buddying was
so like when the cop was like interrogating them, you know, with his hot lamp and his fork.
And Tom Wilson was good in this too. He was good.
No, yeah, he's always good. I love when he pops up. He pops up in movies.
Yep,
and
mostly.
No, there was a movie he popped up in recently.
He pops up sometimes at coffee shops or diners.
Or out of Jack in the Boxes if you do the song.
He'll be like, "What do you want, buddy?"
Like, you're very rude. He's like, "Well, then why don't you make like a tree?" Get out of here.
I just wanted a cup of coffee.
Yeah, you want a cup of coffee? Grabs the pot and like smashes it over her head. Oh, and then Sean Penn is like, "Way to go, Spicoli," or whatever.
Whoa.
Whoa, incepted your movie.
Wait a minute,
mind.
isn't Sean Penn Wait, no, doesn't he play Spicoli?
It doesn't matter. He's playing himself. And he's talking to a younger version of him. Don't beat Madonna. All right, it already happened at that point. That's right, he was dating Madonna when he was a teenager.
So Parents'
Day. Yeah, that wouldn't have happened.
They have to make the camp all the camps. They have to make it Scary Vietnam Camp.
Yeah.
They have to make it Computer Geek Camp that's run by the government saving the country.
Yeah.
They have to make it Acting Camp where they advertise that they're doing Miss Saigon, but they're actually doing... hey, listen, I don't like to be a stage critic, but the worst production of Annie I've ever seen.
Yeah,
the
luckily...
were all off, the costumes were trash.
The kids, or the parents were lucky they saw the ending, okay? They didn't have to suffer.
The bar didn't have a single small batch bourbon.
No, it was awful. And, the best thing I could say about it was the intermission.
Ooh, that was so bitchy. I love it. Let's publish it.
I'm a regular Christgau, whatever his name is. Anyway, Leonard Maltin. Now, these kids, bless their heart, they tried, okay? And, Jonathan Frakes. Remember him? Frakes.
Jonathan Frakes. Yeah. And then
his brief cameo.
He looks at the camera and he goes, "Is this camp fact or fiction?"
Take a look again.
Take a look again. Have another look. And then he looks at the camera and goes, "Nope, we made it up."
Yeah.
That's all I could think every time I
he's like, "Take another look." And it shows like a slow motion of the banner, and it like as it folds over and there's another camp name. Did you catch it? Let's watch it again.
Oh my God. And it turns out this movie, it wasn't actually a movie. All of this lead up was just the intro to an episode of Beyond Belief Fact or Fiction. Take another look. Some movies are made to entertain and some are made to fool you. It's just like that in our first story.
Camp or not a camp? You decide.
Camp nowhere or camp somewhere?
I'll check you later.
Nope. It was a complete fabrication. Oh my God. I'm all of a sudden blanking on her name. Jessica Alba was in this movie.
Yeah, I remember when I Googled, the movie to get a gauge on it and see the trailer or whatever. I saw like stuff that Jessica Alba, it's her first movie appearance. Mm-hmm. I completely forgot. And then I watched the movie. And then I Googled Camp Nowhere again to like look at the cast because I was like,
right.
Oh, what was that kid from? He looks familiar. And I saw Jessica Alba again, and I was like, Wait, she was in that movie? I don't remember. Did she have any lines?
And then Jonathan Frakes was like, take another look.
And then he shows a screenshot, and it's like, hey, that's from Dark Angel. Oh, wait, was she in that? No. Idle Hands.
She was in Idle Hands.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't notice she was in this movie. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention this in Heavyweights. Judd Apatow was in it, but I could not find him. I looked for him the whole time.
Was he?
I think he's credited. I think his scene got cut.
Maybe it was before, after he had a beard or something.
I thought you were saying before, after he had a beard. Yeah, he has a beard. And then I don't recognize.
Well, that's how we recognize him. It's because he has a beard. Most comedians have beards. That's a fact. Look that up. It's on comedianfacts.com.
And then, of course, as in most great heist movies like Camp Nowhere, everything goes terribly wrong when the parents show up and the collections guy and the cop. And the jig is up. They find all the dummies that they made look like people and all the computer projects.
It's so comical. He's just like, oh, I'm falling for 90 minutes and pulling apart everything.
You know how when you slip, you grab the curtain and it pulls down, and then you reach over and grab your dishwasher and then open the door and then reach back and grab a bottle on the shelf and knock it over and then reach back and grab a loaf of bread and drop it on the ground.
You know what I'd like to imagine is that when it got to this part, because like they'd built it up so much, and they were like, oh, you see the montage of them building it and then executing it. I think when in the storyboarding or even up to when they were about to direct it, they were like, this is my idea, guys. This is the director, because I watched it with the commentary, the director's cut. He was like,
God, what a nightmare.
He was like, this is going to be so cool. It's going to be a Rube Goldberg moment where the guy, like, he trips over the thing, and then the sandbag comes down. The sandbag does this, and then the bodies come down, and then, oh, look, it made the lights come on, and then the curtains come in. And it's like, oh, my God. And then when they were there, they were like, we didn't set it up. We ran out of money, and this is the last day of shooting. What do we do? Well, okay, just pull it all down. just yank it all down. And then Emmett Walsh is like, how do you want me to do it? Like, I'm intentionally doing it? He's like, no, like, you're kind of falling. But, like, you keep falling.
Just pretend you're a crippled monkey that we keep tickling.
He's like, well, I've been to the Jeff Goldblum acting school, so I know exactly what you want.
Say no more. Got it.
Wow.
It's actually my specialty is holding up his resume. You bring your resume to every day of shooting. You never know.
We've already hired you.
You never know who you're going to network with.
Yeah. I might get a job working with Christopher Lloyd.
Guys, I'm already old, and it's only the 90s.
And I will continue to be in movies for another 30 years.
I'll even be in an episode of Frasier. That's right. He's in an episode of Frasier.
Who was he in Frasier? Was he his dad?
He was his dad's boss in one episode.
He was actually his dad's dad.
Dad. Granddad.
So anyway, they go to the Apache.
That's right. These movies should have combined. They should have met each other at the Apache Relay.
Well, that's the thing, is that Camp Nowhere came first, so it told, So what should have happened is if Kevin Feige was around during this time, he would have taken Camp Nowhere and went, ooh, this is the Camp Nowhere universe. We're going to have Heavyweights, which is the fat camp portion, and then we're going to have the computer camp movie. There is a computer camp movie. It's called Computer Beach.
Is that real?
Yes. It's basically, well, they're older. It's basically a sex comedy with like Revenge of the Nerds, but on a beach.
Oh my God, Jono, you just blew the case wide open. The military school is Major Payne.
Oh my God!
What?
Wait, there's one more. What was it?
Drama school.
Drama school. Oh, that's
Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh, and they kiss. All
Gross. All the kids start kissing.
Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher. You did it, weirdo. You did it, cheese man.
You dirt it.
You dirted cheese man.
Cheese man. We should have been calling him Cheese Man the whole time.
So at one point, the kids sneak off the camp in a car with Christopher Lloyd in his gremlin.
With Cheese Man.
Yeah, they go with Cheese Man to the beer place.
Yeah.
And they're like, yes, we'll have, 15 beers, please, or however many.
Let's stock up this entire grocery cart with cases of beer. Pushing their luck a little bit.
They're 13. Like, they don't need to be, I'm not a prude. Like, hey, you're a teenager. You're like 16, 17. You have a beer. Like, that's wink, wink, But
yeah, sure, yeah.
You don't need to be stocking up on what looked like expensive imported beer when you're 13 and be like, only Hoffenbryson for me.
Well, it's okay for a minor to drink beer if they've got a parent or legal cheese man.
That's true.
And he was, a stone's throw away reading Mad Magazine.
That's right. And the kid had a fake ID and couldn't figure out math, how old he was supposed to be from his fake ID, which anyone knows with a fake ID, have that shit locked down, know your address, know the age, know the year, know the month.
Well, he's a kid. It's like Christmas magic with Violet Night. Any stupid thing these kids do, it's like, well, they're a kid. Yeah. I do like the exchange, though, because he asks if he says, hey, you got to be 19.
Yeah.
Which, first off, what state, what country are they in?
Right, because it's a national law.
I mean, but
21.
Do we
or
know
18,
that?
I think.
Do we know that for sure? That in 1990, what if this was a period film? What if this took place in the time when that
1762? Oh no, we
weren't a country yet. Yeah, we weren't a country yet, bro. So you could. So if this could technically take place,
right
back then,
they're like, oh, I forgot ye old ID to buy my cider. They still had accents.
And he would say, he wouldn't say, I'm buying it for my father. He'd say, I'm buying it for the church.
I'm buying it for my 17-year-old father. He's nearly dead from old age.
He says 19, and then he says, what year were you born? He says, what was he, 31? Oh, yeah. He goes, what year were you born? He says, 1984. He's like, well, how old are you? He goes, 21. He goes, no, that would make you 31. And then he says, no. He goes, because you were born in 1984, and then, or 74.
Well, not 1984, but yeah.
Whatever, you know what I mean.
Whatever year it was, yeah.
But then Trey girl is like, no, he's 21, which means he was born in 19 or whatever. Like,
right, they're like arguing incorrect math.
Yeah, like I love that it was like there. It was a double incorrect. Like they kept trumping their own like incorrectness. I thought that was kind of funny. And then of course Cheese Man is like, yeah, I'm the dad.
Boy, I just love drinking beer. It's my favorite thing to... Like, you don't have to explain why you're buying six packs of beer.
Well, I thought there was going to be kind of a teaching a lesson moment there, and I thought he
starts beating the kids.
Well, with the bottles, right? How do you think the beer likes it? No, I thought he was like, kind of like, oh, you're using me. Oh, sure, I love beer. I'm going to buy all this beer. And then when they were taking the beer out of the store, he was just going to be like, oh, yes, I bought this beer. It is for me. And he's like, don't, and kind of like a little like lesson learning. But no, kids aren't supposed to learn lessons.
Now, if you think I'm mad at you now, don't you try talking back to me after I've had all 18 of these beers.
Because if you've never known what a red butt looks like, you're going to see it, young man.
You'll have a real talk about breadstick safety then. Oh, yeah, because he does a breadstick safety thing. When he's cheese man.
When he's cheesing.
Straight cheesing.
Straight cheese. I'm going to give you the straight cheese.
I want a politician to start a speech that way. I want, whatever, Senator Huff and Puff to come up to the
Senator Krim.
Senator Krim, to be like, folks, listen, I'm here. I'm not like my opponent. I'm not going to give you any crazy charcuterie. I'm here to give you just the straight cheese.
Yeah, his reputation would blow up. It'd be all like, it would be. It's so quotable. It's like he's giving you the straight cheese.
And then, unfortunately, Governor Shirtfire, his opponent, would be like, now, my opponent, Senator Krim, says he's giving you the straight cheese, but unfortunately, it's Swiss because it's full of holes.
Oh! Oh, wow, that's way cleverer than what I was going to say.
I would love it if politicians just debated using cheese puns. And you had to pick based on who had the best cheese pun.
Because, like, you can see it, like, in a debate, like, Krim is like, oh, this and that, and then Governor Shirtfire is like, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh, if you vote for my opponent, I simply camembert it.
My opponent, ladies and gentlemen, is a real monster.
I must say, that was a pretty sharp remark, Cheddar.
Yeah, well, you're blue cheesing it all over my Wisconsin curds.
Listen, after I've been in office for 1 year, you'll say, he's the GOAT, like greatest of all time, but also cheese.
Look, I'm just a simple white cheddar from Governor Town.
I may have only been aged for 64 years, but...
I'm not as smelly as my opponent, because he's going to Humboldt fog your mind with lies.
Now, let me just begin by saying... Boy, you're really grating on my nerves.
Let me introduce to you my Parmesan, Johnny.
Wait, what is the pun? Are you literally just introducing me to a wheel of Parmesan?
Yes. No, his son, my Parmesan.
My Parmesan?
My opponent's very harmful to your health. There, I fixed it.
Oh, well, that sure melted at the end, right, guys? I thought I tried to sneak one in there. It was not to be.
It was not your time. So, Cheese Man, they got the beer. Is that what we were talking about?
And in the end, he got the gal, he got the car of his dreams.
Which was the kids. He worked all summer on it.
Well, you worked all summer on this car, and I committed many crimes, so thanks for the car.
So many crimes.
What's Grand Theft Auto?
I'm glad that they actually said it. Biff Copman says, like, I can't believe no one's pressing charges. Okay, that's fine. It's like, okay, that explains why he's not going to jail because of that. But he still broke a lot of crimes.
Yeah,
he broke a lot of crimes.
Okay, we still need to hold you for questioning.
Yeah.
We still at least need to talk about this a little longer.
Yeah, we need to interrogate every child, inspect them for touches, because, a cop, they're going to sniff those touches out. If
oh my God.
If he has the scent of touch, he's going to be like, all right, Cheese Man, it's time for you to go to cheese jail.
They'll never find me. All my touches smell just like melted American cheese.
And as you know, the fat camp portion of the camp, cheeseheads.
And as Christopher Lloyd is flying away, he looks at the camera and says, we're always watching.
He's just flying away with his angel wings because he's from the outfield.
Yep, that's right.
I get the reference.
Yep, no, I know. It was just poorly constructed on my part.
Yeah, because no one was watching shit, dog. Oh, wait, he was watching for smells. Or no, he was...
What the fuck is happening?
Christopher Lloyd.
How do you watch for smells? Now keep your eye out for smells.
Well, like when there's a pie cooling in on a shelf,
and you see it with your mouth.
Well, you see the smoke fume, the
smoke,
the pie fumes, and then the pie fumes turn into a hand, and it like grabs you by the nose, and it like caresses your cheeks, like they do in cartoons.
Yeah, I've done mushrooms before.
Tom just wanted that pie, and Jerry was not having it. So anyway, Fat Camp.
Wait, that was backwards.
No, Tom is the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom wanted that pie, and Jerry wasn't having it. This is my mom's pie or whatever.
No.
Because Tom is a stray cat, and Jerry lives in the house, and he wants the pie for himself. The pie is for Jerry. He lives in the house. What do you... Why am I not
I
kidding?
wish the animals that lived in our apartment studio would make pies and have comical
Jerry didn't
exchanges.
make it. It was made for him.
No wonder they have a rodent problem. They keep giving them pie.
Well, in cartoons, rats are not as infested with diseases.
He's a mouse, not a rat.
Well, that's very kind of you. I'm sure if Jerry were here or alive, he would be like,
oh yeah, animals die sooner than us.
Well, yeah. I mean, he lived a good life, though. He was very old and eaten.
Ooh, do they send old people to old camp to teach them to be less old?
Yeah, it's called the Benjamin Button Camp.
Now, I'm Tony Perkis. Now, all you old fucks button your lips. Because you already gave me your Benjamins. All right, Jono. Well, we have kind of talked about both of these movies.
I think we talked about them quite in depth.
Yeah, compared to our usual shtick, it was very on message.
Very on brand for camps.
Or wait, no, on brand for camps. Brand camp.
Oh, is brand camp all the brands go to, like Kraft and...
No, it's where you learn how to mark cattle with a hot iron prod. That's why there were cows in heavyweights.
Oh,
that's
my
from
God.
the brand camp.
It's from brand camp. It was
it
next
all
door.
makes sense now. Yeah. So, what do you think, John? It's time to pick a winner. What's your pick?
Oh, man, I wasn't really thinking about it. I was just thinking about cheese puns the whole time. My pick for the winner of the Gold Cheese Crackers Award Apache Trophy Person Time Cheese goes to the cheese man himself, Camp Nowhere.
Oh, shit.
That's right. I pulled a double dare on all you fuckers listening at home.
Yeah, that's right. Our adversaries, the lovely spectators.
You thought I was going to say heavyweights because I mentioned Apache. Well, that makes you racist because I mentioned references to both movies. I think I did.
Okay.
Camp Nowhere. That's my pick.
So heavyweights didn't leave you fat and happy, huh?
No, it was a little past its prime.
Well, unfortunately, Cheese Man took me nowhere because my pick is heavyweights. Heavyweights has got some nostalgia for me, and I did enjoy Camp Nowhere, and it was close, but in the end, the charm of the kids in heavyweights just won me over.
What are you trying to say? There's no charm in the cast of Camp Nowhere?
Yeah, that's right.
So you're calling it a cast nowhere?
That's right. No, they were charming. I don't know. I connected more with the kids in heavyweights.
Yeah, well, they disgusted me. Well, you heard it here, folks. It's a stalemate.
That's right.
Which, I can't remember the last time you didn't pick the one I picked.
Yeah. I could have faked and just been like, oh, yeah, that was my pick, too. We have a winner. But you know what? This show's about reality.
I can't remember the last time one of us was wrong.
I do. It was right now. It was me.
It was definitely one of us. No, No, but what hey, if you lovely spectators remember which one it was,
why don't you shoot us an email at battles@filmfightspodcast.com. Connect with us on our Instagram and our Facebook page at Film Fights Podcast. Make sure you're rating and subscribing. But hey, if you think if you correctly think that Jono was wrong, let us know. If you incorrectly think that I was wrong, you can keep your opinion to yourself, or I don't know who you think you are, that you could guide our show, but please reach out.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for tuning in on another exciting battle that, didn't really, it kind of like stood its ground. It was basically like, I would compare the movies we pitted against each other to like the actual battle of the 300.
Yeah, it was kind of like when my body goes up against a bunch of cheese. It just gets all locked up. Well, like Tony Perkis was locked up in heavyweight. See,
oh my God, yes. And he was prodded with electricity and candy.
He was prodded with candy.
He tricked that kid so easily.
Bye! Everybody knows you ain't got dinner without meat in your noodles. Hey, honey, hey, daughter, it's time to set the table. But, Dad, I only see noodles. Where's the meat? I'll be right back. Goes to the store, gets in an accident, dies. Boom, it's actually a life insurance commercial.
God. So why did it need to be a daughter?
Why did there need to be meat in the noodles?